Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for the bout the boxing world has been waiting for. The highly anticipated showdown for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world. Weighed in at the welterweight limit of 147 pounds. With a record of 28 wins, no losses, 22 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the renowned, current, undefeated, reigning and defending, unified WBC, WBA, and IBF welterweight champion of the world, introducing the truth, Errol Spence Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, time to welcome out his opponent tonight, boxing out of the blue corner.
Now a fighter from Sydney, New South Wales, tomorrow having his 30th professional fight. He has 26 wins with 18 KOs and 3 World Championship defeats. He is the former world champion and the current world number 4 on the fast track. Back to the top, please welcome Tim Tszyu.
As soon as the first bell echoed through the arena, Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu wasted no time engaging. From the opening moments, both fighters set a fast pace, giving fans immediate insight into the questions that had surrounded this highly anticipated showdown ever since it was officially announced.
Ladies and gentlemen, time to welcome out his opponent tonight, boxing out of the blue corner.
Now a fighter from Sydney, New South Wales, tomorrow having his 30th professional fight. He has 26 wins with 18 KOs and 3 World Championship defeats. He is the former world champion and the current world number 4 on the fast track. Back to the top, please welcome Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu exploded out of his corner with relentless aggression, aiming to make the contest physical from the very beginning, just as his team had promised. But Errol Spence looked far more polished than many expected after a 3-year absence, using a sharp jab to disrupt Tszyu's pressure while creating openings for his trademark straight left. Yet Tszyu never stopped marching forward, attacking the body, closing the distance, and forcing brutal inside exchanges through the middle rounds as both fighters stood their ground and refused to give an inch.
Welterweight championship of the world, weighed in at the welterweight limit of 147 pounds. With a record of 28 wins, no losses, 22 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the renowned, current, undefeated, reigning and defending, unified WBC, WBA, and IBF welterweight champion of the world, introducing the truth, Errol Spence Jr.
For a short stretch, Tim Tszyu looked like he was taking over with his relentless pressure, but Errol Spence responded with a clever tactical adjustment by no longer standing directly in front of him, instead using lateral movement and changing angles to catch Tszyu as he advanced, disrupting his rhythm and forcing him to reset. And as the fight entered the championship rounds, the contest evolved into a clash between Tsyu's relentless determination and Spence's experience, with Tszyu continuing to push the pace while Spence answered with the sharper, cleaner, and more precise punches.
And Tim Tszyu weighs in at 159 pounds, 72.1 kilos, 72.1.
72.1 kilos.
Errol Spence Jr. weighs in at 159 pounds, the same as his opponent, 159 or 72.1 kilos.
When the final bell sounded, both men had produced memorable moments, but Errol Spence's sharper accuracy, consistent jab, and ability to control the most important exchanges ultimately gave him the edge, earning him a well-deserved decision victory on the judges' scorecards. And after spending 3 years facing uncertainty and questions about his career, Spence proved that while time away from the ring may have affected certain aspects of his game, it had not taken away the elite boxing. skills that made him one of the sport's top fighters.
Well, I'm going to make it. I've trained my hardest and I'm supremely confident, and of course it's up to him, but yeah, that is my plan, and like it's not a personal thing, but yeah, of course I want to punch him as hard as I can, in the face, in the body, every limb I want to feel in pain, and I do want to make it his last fight.
Before any of those predictions could unfold inside the ring, Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu met one last time at the final press conference, where the tension made the upcoming showdown feel even more significant. Tszyu spoke with complete conviction, calling the fight the biggest moment of his career, comparing it to his own Super Bowl, and explaining that everything he had worked for was leading to this opportunity while proudly carrying the expectations of Australia. He also suggested that the timing was perfect, believing he was facing Spence at a stage when the legendary champion was no longer at his absolute peak, making it clear that his comments were based on confidence rather than disrespect. Spence listened without showing the slightest emotion, remaining calm and composed as if the remarks meant nothing to him, and when Tszyu declared that he wanted this to be Spence's final fight, Spence brushed it aside with the confidence of a veteran, reminding everyone that opponents always make similar promises before stepping into the ring, highlighting the clear difference between Tsyu's fiery ambition and Spence's quiet self-belief.
Make sure you tune in. It's going to be a great event from top to bottom. It's going to be I'm going to put on a great show, great performance. Tim is going to come to fight. I'm going to come to fight. And I guarantee you, it's going to end early.
And any final words for your opponent, Tim Tszyu, before we leave?
Nah.
And Errol, we won't get a shake of hands today or even after this fight?
Yeah, maybe after for sure, but nah, not right now. It's wartime.
One fighter viewed this matchup as the defining moment of his career, while the other approached it with the calm mindset of simply completing another job. Spence admitted that his return was never about silencing critics or satisfying the media. It was about proving to himself that he still belonged at the highest level, making the comeback deeply personal. He then confidently predicted the fight would end before the final bell, a bold claim considering his 3-year absence, the challenge of fighting in Tsyu's home country, and the move to a new weight division. Tszyu responded by saying he would meet Spence head-on in the middle of the ring and promised to bring maximum intensity from the opening bell, while Spence welcomed the challenge without hesitation. Their final face-off reflected that same attitude, free from theatrics or manufactured drama, as both men locked eyes with complete focus, knowing the time for words had passed. Tszyu believed this was the opportunity he had been waiting for, while Spence was convinced this fight would remind everyone exactly who he was, leaving only one question unanswered: whose confidence would survive once the punches started flying.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of questions out there. You know, how's Errol Spence gonna come back? Is he still the same? You know, will he be sharp for a 3-year layoff? Things like that. But you know, I'm ready. I'm focused. Been training hard. I feel like it's not really any pressure on me because I'm not looking to prove anything to anybody. I'm looking to prove something to myself that I still have it.
What's going to happen on Sunday, Errol? What are we going to see in this fight?
First of all, you're going to see a very entertaining fight. If you see my fights, you know I'm always in entertaining fights. If you see Tim Tszyu fight, you always know he's an entertaining fight. So it makes for a perfect clash, where I do see myself becoming victorious.
Spence's confidence became even more intriguing when Terence Crawford, the last opponent to face him in the ring, arrived in Australia during fight week and shared a similar perspective. Rather than focusing on Spence's 3-year absence, Crawford suggested the break may have worked in his favor, explaining that the time away likely allowed his body to recover while his boxing ability remained at an elite level. Coming from someone who had actually fought Spence, that opinion carried extra weight because it was based on first-hand experience rather than speculation. Crawford also rejected the idea that Spence needed a tune-up bout before taking on Tszyu, arguing that world-class fighters can regain their rhythm through a disciplined training camp and high-quality sparring. He believed Spence might spend the opening rounds adjusting to the pace and gathering information, but once he settled in, his natural instincts and years of experience would begin to take over, making the fight far more competitive as it progressed.
Errol gonna do good. I think, you know, his body needed the rest. I think he's gonna come back with something to prove. and I think his skills is going to take him to the victory.
You don't think he should have taken a tune-up?
No, I think once you're at a certain level,
Yes.
you know, once you in training camp and you sparring, and that's all the sharpness
Yeah.
you need. I think the first couple of rounds, he's going to be getting the feel and getting back comfortable in there, and everything else is going to fall into place. Muscle memory.
How do you think, like, style-wise, like, they'll kind of meet at a head in the fight?
I think, you know, they got tailor-made styles for each other.
Terence Crawford believed Tim Tszyu's pressure-heavy style was exactly the type of challenge that could bring out the best in Errol Spence. Since Tszyu prefers to march forward and engage, Crawford felt Spence would have the chance to control the action with his signature jab, dictate the tempo, and slowly break down Tszyu's offensive rhythm. Those comments carried extra weight because Crawford wasn't speaking as an outside observer. He had already shared the ring with Spence and understood his abilities firsthand. He also dismissed any talk of a future rematch, saying he had always respected Spence, hoped to see him perform at a high level, and had no desire to create unnecessary storylines or personal drama. Instead of focusing on the long layoff as a disadvantage, Crawford suggested the time away may have helped Spence recover both physically and mentally while preserving the skills that made him a world champion. If that evaluation turned out to be correct, Tszyu would soon realize that the experienced and highly skilled version of Errol Spence was still very much capable of competing at the highest level.
I don't know. I think Errol, you know, he's going to come out and try to show something that we haven't seen in a while. You know, go back to the old Errol, working behind the jab, working behind, you know, smart pressure and breaking them down. I think that's what we'll see. I don't think we'll see a reckless Errol come tomorrow.
In the end, every prediction, every debate, and every unanswered question came down to one unforgettable night inside the ring. Would Errol Spence complete his comeback by proving he was still among boxing's elite, or would Tim Tszyu seize the biggest victory of his career in front of his home crowd? Share your prediction in the comments below and join the discussion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more boxing news, fight analysis, and the latest updates from